Your dog is looking at you at 7:14 in the morning. You're standing in the wet grass slippers that are really just socks with a thin lie underneath them, holding a small green bag. And your hair has made its own decisions for the day. Not a glance, not a quick check. Looking. The kind where their eyes find yours and just stay. Soft. Certain. Their whole body committed to something that, biologically speaking, leaves them more exposed than they'll be at any other point in their day. And they're spending that moment looking at your face. You've probably never tried to name what that look is. You felt it land, maybe laughed about it with a friend. She stares at me the whole time. It's so weird. But you never quite sat with the strange weight of it. Because the truth is, no human has ever looked at you the way your dog looks at you in that moment. Not your mother when you were little, not the person you fell in love with, not the friend who's known you through everything. You've spent a long time searching for someone who'd look at you like that. Turns out they've been doing it every single morning. Here's the thing, if you've ever typed this into a search bar, you've already met the 3 standard answers. Your dog is embarrassed, or they need you nearby because their body's locked in a posture they can't escape quickly. Or it's just about vulnerability. The bent legs, the committed wait, the slow getaway. None of those are wrong. Exactly. They're just small. They explain the mechanics, the biology of a body that can't run, the simple arithmetic of trust and threat. But every one of them stops at the surface, the way most explanations about dogs stop at the surface. Because going deeper would mean taking our dogs more seriously than we're used to. And that's a different kind of conversation. What your dog is doing out there in the wet grass isn't embarrassed. It isn't scared. It isn't simply practical. It's ancient. It was already old before our species had a written word for anything. Something we stumbled into together and then somewhere along the way forgot we were part of. Most people will go their whole lives with a dog and never know what that look is actually saying. They'll laugh about it, post about it, never feel the weight of it. That's not a tragedy. Exactly. But it is a missed moment, repeated every single morning. Sometimes for 15 years. Sometimes for the whole short, beautiful life of one animal who chose you. I want to give you that moment back. By the time we're done here, you won't be able to stand in that yard the same way again. Not in a heavy way, in a soft one. The kind of knowing that settles somewhere behind your sternum and stays. So, the science first, because what came out of a small research lab in Italy in 2012 changed something quietly and permanently about what we understand dogs to be doing when they look at our faces. A researcher named Isabella Marola at the University of Milan ran a study that sounds on paper almost too modest to matter. She put dogs in a room with their owners. Then she introduced something strange, an object the dogs had never seen. Not dangerous, just unfamiliar. The kind of thing that makes a dog stop and think. And here's what her team found. The dogs didn't figure out how to feel about the object by looking at the object. They figured out how to feel about it by looking at the owner's face. Over 70% of the dogs turned to check their human's expression before they made any move at all. Owner looked calm. The dog moved forward. owner looked tense, even slightly. The dog pulled back, or didn't go at all. Scientists call this social referencing. It's a clinical term for something almost unbearably tender. Because there's only one other relationship in the natural world where this shows up with this kind of consistency: between a human infant and their mother. A baby learning to crawl will pause mid-room, lift their head, and read their mother's face before continuing towards something new. No words. Just, is this safe? Are you afraid? Should I be? Your dog, body committed, eyes on yours, is running that exact same question. Same neural wiring. Same ancient trust. Think about that for a second. You're not the bodyguard.
You're the mother.
Sit with that. Because the science is one thing, but translating it into what it actually feels like, that's something else. Your dog, in that small, vulnerable ritual at 7 in the morning, isn't asking if they're safe. They already know they're safe. You're there. The yard is quiet. Nothing's coming. That's not the question on their face. The question is softer than that. It's, what does the face of the person I trust most have to say about this morning? Are we okay today? Is something off I should know about? Because whatever you're carrying, calm, distracted, half present, quietly worried about something you haven't named yet, they feel it. And they file it away. Your dog isn't watching you. They're consulting you. You're not the audience to their life. You're the counsel. The one whose face is the weather report for their entire emotional world. And they trust that report the way a child trusts their mother's expression when a stranger walks into the room, completely without question, before they've had time to think. Now, I want to pull back even further, because this is where the story gets older than you're ready for. 15,000 years ago, somewhere in the cold of Northern Europe, somewhere with a fire and a darkness that pressed in hard from every direction, our two species started sleeping near each other. Not pets and owners, partners. Around a fire, in the mouth of a cave or close to one, with predators outside that we don't even have names for anymore, moving just beyond the light. And what the archaeological record tells us, the bones, the burial sites, the layered ash, is that humans and proto-dogs took turns. One rested while the other watched. Then they switched. Biologists call that sentinel behavior. You see it in meerkats. One climbs to a high point, stands bolt upright, scans the perimeter, while the rest of the colony forages below with their heads down, completely exposed, trusting the one above completely. You see it in wolf packs, where the role rotates so no single animal carries the exhaustion of vigilance alone. And you see it quietly, every single morning, in your own backyard. Your dog, on that patch of wet grass, a person in slippers nearby holding a little green bag, is running software older than agriculture, older than writing, older than anything we built or named or called civilization. They're repeating, in miniature, the first contract our two species ever made with each other. I'll be exposed. You keep watch. We'll trade off. We'll get through this together. You just never got told you were part of it. So which one is your dog? Because not every dog performs this the same way. And the difference tells you something about who they are. Not whether they trust you, who they are. Some dogs are pure sentinels. Eyes lock onto yours and they don't move. The whole moment is one long, unwavering read, like they're downloading something from your face they can't afford to miss. If that's your dog, you have a partner whose factory setting is, you are the most important information in the morning. Some do the opposite. They walk to the far corner of the yard, find a bush, put distance between themselves and you, and stay there until they're done. If that's your dog, you may have spent years quietly wondering if you did something wrong. You didn't. This dog built their own system. Somewhere early on, they decided privacy was theirs to take. The trust is still there. It just runs underground, the way a river runs under rock, invisible, but constant. And then there's the third kind. The one who looks at you, then away, then circles back, then looks one more time before settling. If that's your dog, congratulations. You're living with a multitasker. Their brain is running 2 surveillance programs at once, and you are one of them. 3 different styles, 3 different dogs, one identical truth underneath all of it. You are being chosen. They're just choosing you in their own dialect. And here is where it gets heavier. Because what came out of the Czech University of Life Sciences in 2013 added one more layer to all of this. And once you hear it, it's hard to unhear. A research team there spent 2 full years in open fields with clipboards and compasses, following dogs. They documented 1,893 defecations across 70 dogs of various breeds. I want you to sit with the commitment that took. The grant proposal, the spreadsheets, the years. What they found when the Earth's magnetic field is calm, not disrupted by solar activity, just running steady, dogs preferentially align their bodies along the north-south magnetic axis when they go. Their bodies orient like compass needles, without training, without anyone noticing, for literally thousands of years. Which means that in this one unremarkable moment in your morning, this moment you barely think about, your dog's brain is running at least 4 programs at the same time. Calibrating to the planet's magnetic field, scanning the environment for anything that moved, holding a posture that costs real biological effort, and reading your face. 4 systems, finite bandwidth. And the one they won't pull their attention away from is you. You are the priority, not the magnetic field of the Earth, not the rustle in the bushes. You. There's something I want to say carefully here, because it matters, and I don't want to rush past it. A lot of people who love dogs deeply, and I mean really deeply, the kind where you rearrange your whole morning around their walk, where you know exactly which ear they like scratched and how long they want it, where you've memorized the sound of their nails on the kitchen floor and you'd notice immediately if it changed. A lot of those people have also spent long stretches of their lives not quite feeling seen. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way they'd say out loud at dinner, just quietly, in the accumulating way, where you realize that most of the looking that comes your direction is transactional. Someone needs something from you. Someone's waiting for their turn to talk. Someone glances at you and then past you to the next thing, the next task, the little screen in their hand that's always asking for their attention instead of giving you theirs. That kind of not being seen doesn't announce itself. It just settles in. Like sediment at the bottom of a glass of water. You don't notice it happening. You just notice, one day, that things feel a little murky. And then one morning, unremarkable morning, wet grass, hair doing its own thing, a creature with 4 legs and no agenda and nothing to gain finds your eyes and holds them without blinking, without looking past you towards something better. And something in your chest moves that you weren't ready for. You're not strange for feeling that. You're not projecting. You're not making it up. You're not one of those people who loves their dog too much. What you are is someone who just received something real. Something the Marola study at the University of Milan and 15,000 years of sleeping beside each other in the dark and the entire slowly humbling field of animal cognition have all been circling around and trying to find the right words for. You were seen this morning in the wet grass by the one who chose you. And here's what gets me. They've been doing that every single morning, whether you were fully present for it or half asleep. Whether you were standing there with your coffee going cold on the counter inside or scrolling something on your phone or staring at nothing while your brain rehearsed a conversation you were dreading, they looked for your face anyway. Every time. Without fail, without keeping score. That's not nothing. That's actually the whole thing. Now, and I say this as someone who wants you to carry this knowledge in the softest possible way. There's something a good owner learns to notice. This morning ritual has a baseline. Your dog has their version of it, their particular style, their usual duration, the specific angle of their gaze. Maybe they always look left first. Maybe they always check the fence before they find your face. Maybe they make this one small sound before they settle. You know it. You probably couldn't describe it word for word, but you know it. The way you know your own kitchen in the dark. You know what normal feels like for your dog. Which means you'll also know when something shifts. If your dog suddenly stops making eye contact during this moment, if they start moving to the far corner of the yard, if they seem tense in a way that doesn't match them, distracted in a way that feels different from their usual distracted, don't reach for the emotional explanation first. The body tells its story plainly before it tells it loudly. A sudden change in this behavior, especially one that persists, can sometimes mean your dog is carrying physical discomfort they don't have another language for yet. If something feels off, talk to your vet. Not because something is necessarily wrong, because you're the kind of person who pays attention. That's why you're here. That's who you've always been with them. The fact that you would notice, the fact that you'd wonder, that already says everything about the kind of person who showed up to that yard this morning with a little green bag and slippers that aren't really shoes. Which brings me back all the way back to 7:14. The wet grass, the slippers, that small green bag. The quiet of a neighborhood that hasn't fully woken up yet. The early light coming in low and pale. And somewhere inside your kitchen, a cup of coffee going slowly cold because you went outside first. Because you always go outside first. And your dog settling into that posture, that ancient, unguarded, deeply familiar posture, and turning their face toward yours. Patient, certain, without a single layer of pretense between you. You've done this hundreds of times, maybe thousands, if you do the math and let yourself feel it. And every single time, without announcement, without asking for anything back, without even knowing they were doing something remarkable, your dog posted you as the sentinel, handed you the oldest job in the long history of these two species finding their way to each other. Said, with nothing but that look, with nothing but the simple fact of choosing your face over everything else their brain was processing. I trust you with the most exposed moment of my day. You weren't just watching them poop. You were keeping the oldest promise our two species ever made to each other. 15,000 years ago, someone stood watch in the cold and the dark, so something small and warm could rest without fear. This morning, that someone was you. Half asleep, in slippers, holding a little green bag and probably thinking about your to-do list. And you showed up anyway. You always show up. You've always shown up. That is not a small thing. Don't let anyone, including the quiet voice in your own head, tell you it is. That is the whole contract kept morning after morning after morning by you. Tomorrow it'll happen again. The grass will be wet or cold or silver with frost or catching that first pale light of a morning that hasn't decided what it wants to be yet. You'll be in whatever you slept in. The little green bag will be in your hand, and your dog will find that posture, that ancient, trusting, completely unguarded posture. And before anything else, before the world asks anything of either of you, their eyes will find your face. Now you'll know what they're doing. Not because anything changed between you. The contract was always there. The trust was always running underneath. The 15,000-year-old agreement was already woven into every ordinary morning you ever shared. You just didn't have a name for it. You felt it. The way you feel things that are true before you have words for them. And now you have the shape of it. Something you can hold. Let that be enough. You don't need to do anything differently tomorrow. You don't need to turn it into a practice or a ritual or another thing to get right. Just stand there. Let your face be calm. Let your eyes go soft. Let them find yours and stay. That is the whole job. That is everything they're asking. And if you've ever noticed, really noticed, that your dog rests their chin on your foot, not your knee, not the cushion beside you on the couch, not your hand, your foot. That specific, deliberate, quiet weight against the part of you that carries you through every day of your life. And if you've ever felt something move in you when they do it, something you couldn't quite explain or name, that's the next ancient story I want to tell you.